Now, during this video podcast, if you happen to hear a dog barking, I'm doing some dog sitting for the next few days. My brother and his wife are out of town for a few days celebrating their 10th wedding anniversary. And they have a little dog named Chewy. He cracks me up, man. He's a little terrier. Got more mouth than anyone can handle. But he's real cool, man. He's real cool. But yeah, I'm keeping him company until my brother and wife get back from New Orleans. Well, I'm going to say my normal time-related disclaimer. This video shouldn't be too long. But if you remember again, in 2017, I started off a lot of videos saying, this video is not going to be too long. It will be like an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours. Well, first announcement for my Patreon subscribers. I have a Patreon exclusive live stream today at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Now, this is an interesting month. This is one of the first months, I think, since March, that I've done 3 Patreon exclusive live streams in a single month. Yeah, because my average is 2. I usually do 2 live streams per month. I do one for my $5 subscribers and up, and one for my $10 subscribers and up. But this month, the month of August, this will be my 3rd. Today's live stream will be my 3rd live stream for the month of August. I've done one for my $5, one for my $10, and this 3rd one is also going to be for my $10 and up. Speaking of $5 versus $10, I had one of my $5 Patreon subscribers. He said, Alan, no disrespect, but it seems like you don't really get the benefits of being a Patreon subscriber until you become a $10 subscriber or higher. It seems like the $5 subscribers, other than the one live stream per month, we only see the videos that you would show to the general public. So what's the main advantage? Well, I'll tell you at least one advantage of being a $5 subscriber, other than you already mentioned the one live stream you get access to, is that there's a lot of videos of mine that used to be free to the general public on YouTube that are now Patreon exclusive videos. There's some videos that I do for the free YouTube general public that I'll leave up on my YouTube channel, but then at least 1/3 of them, either days later, weeks later, or months later, I convert those videos into Patreon exclusive videos. And see, as a $5 subscriber, you'll still have access to those videos. But if you're not a subscriber at all to my Patreon channel, you won't get to see those videos. You won't have access to those videos that used to be free to the YouTube general public that are now Patreon exclusive videos. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And then there's just there's some videos I do. I did a video either earlier this month or late last month. That was, it wasn't a live stream, but it was just a regular, a dating advice video that was for my $5 subscribers. So there's definitely some benefits to being a $5 subscriber. But here's what I want to talk about, at least 2 things for this video. One, I had a guy say to me recently, and I've heard this comment at least a handful of times before. A guy said, Alan, I love your Mode 1 approach, man. There's a lot of things I like about it. But I have to say this honestly. In today's society, it's more time efficient to resort to tricking if you just want casual sex than to go through the whole time investment of trying to be Mode 1 with a woman. He said, Trickin was more time efficient than exhibiting mode 1 behavior with a woman, because he felt like being mode 1 with a woman required, he seems to be under the impression that it requires some significant investment of time. Now, he asked me this, he made this comment to me respectfully, so I don't want to disparage this guy, but I have to do this to you. I have to do it to you. Insert dog face here. And you know what's funny? Chewy, who is my brother and sister-in-law's dog, he kind of somewhat resembles that dog face I just showed you. He kind of somewhat resembles. What was I going to say? No. See, you don't understand what Mode 1 is about. First of all, if you think Mode 1 requires some type of significant investment of time, then you don't understand the Mode 1 approach. Matter of fact, one of the reasons why I began using the Mode 1 approach, among other reasons, was for the purpose of saving time, of not wasting time and not wasting money with women. So, what makes you think that being Mode 1 with women requires a lot of time? Since you brought up tricking, I'm going to tell you in simple terms what Mode 1 is. Mode 1 is essentially dealing with women in the same way you would deal with women if you tricking, only you're not offering them any type of financial or monetary incentives and rewards in an attempt to significantly diminish your chances of being rejected. Let me repeat that. Being Mode 1 with a woman for the purpose of casual sex is just like tricking, with the only difference being you're not offering them financial or monetary incentives and rewards in an attempt to diminish your chances of being rejected. Because think about it, when you trick with a woman, whether it be a street prostitute, a professional call girl, a discreet and private erotic escort, or just a regular woman you may meet at a social event or social function, you have to be straightforwardly honest with a woman if you want to trick. You have to be straightforwardly honest. You can't beat around the bush and be a trick. You can't be vague and ambiguous and be a trick. You can't be dishonest, disingenuous, and misleading with women and be a trick. I mean, seriously. What kind of trick could you be if you're being dishonest with women about your true sexual desires, interests, and intentions? Disingenuous? Misleading? Vague and ambiguous? Beat around the bush? What kind of effective trick you going to be? If you resort to being vague and ambiguous or beat around the bush or indirect, then you're moving from tricking to what's known as, you've heard me talk about, whining and dining. That would move into the territory of whining and dining. But when you're truly tricking with women, other than offering a woman money for oral sex, intercourse, or both, you're being very upfront, specific, and straightforward with women about the fact that you want to fuck them, that you want to have sex with them. Again, the only difference between Mode 1 and tricking is that when I'm Mode 1 with women, I'm not saying I'm going to give you $80 for a blowjob, or I'm not offering to give a woman, $150, $200 for an hour worth of fucking. I'm just telling a woman straight up that all I want to do is have sex with her. You understand that? So I don't see this so-called dilemma of You know, and again, this person wasn't the only one. I've had at least, I want to say at least a handful, maybe 5, as many as 10 guys over the last year and a half that have presented this to me. They'll make comments like, yeah, Alan, man, you know, as much as I like Mode 1, man, I would rather just turn to Trickin, because then I don't have to deal with head games, and I don't have to invest a whole bunch of time. Number one, Mode 1 is not about engaging in manipulative head games with women. So I don't know where you're talking about you don't have to deal with games. So the whole notion of Mode 1 requiring you to engage in games with women, that's bullshit. Because Mode 1 is the antithesis of playing games with women. And again, as far as investing time, how much time does it take you to be Mode 1 with a woman? How much time does it take you to go up to a woman, let her know that you want to share her company at some point in the near future in a sexually intimate manner, and then leave it to her to either basically say yay or nay? How much time is required in that? I would argue it requires the same amount of time as being a trick. If you're being a trick, what you're doing is you're approaching women and saying, hey, I want to have sex with you, and I'm willing to give you X amount of dollars to make it worth your while. That's basically what tricking is. Tricking is basically, you could say, Mode 1 plus a monetary or financial incentive attached to it. That's all tricking is. Tricking is nothing but Mode 1 behavior plus some type of financial or monetary incentive or reward attached to it. That's all tricking is. Whereas Mode 1 by itself is when you're straightforward with women about the fact that you want to enjoy yourself sexually with them, but you're not offering them any type of monetary or financial incentive. So anyway, I just wanted to quickly clear that up about the whole Mode 1 versus tricking. I said this actually on, I forget whose podcast I was on. Somebody was interviewing. It might have been O'Shea Duke Jackson or somebody else, but somebody had brought up the argument or debate of tricking versus Mode 1. And I said during this podcast interview, I said, tricking is just basically Mode 1 plus money. That's all it is. That's all tricking is. True tricking is nothing but Mode 1 behavior plus money being offered. And the reason why most guys offer women money is they want to significantly lower their chances of being rejected. They feel like if they offer a woman money for that time, that there's a significantly less chance of that woman rejecting them, which is not necessarily true. Even when you offer women money, you can still be rejected. You can still be rejected. If you approach a woman and offer her $50, $75 to suck your dick, or $100, $150, or $200 to give you some pussy, she can still reject you. Here's the one negative associated with tricking. Tricking's illegal, and I've pointed that out like 2 million times. That's one of the biggest reasons why I would never enthusiastically endorse tricking, is because in most cities and in most countries across the world, tricking is technically illegal. Now, people still do it. People still do it all the time on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. People find ways to circumvent the fact that it's illegal and still engage in it. But the fact of the matter is, at least on paper, tricking is illegal. That's illegal. I'm never going to endorse something that's just illegal. So there you go. Here's the second thing I wanted to quickly talk about. One problem I'm having with at least a small percentage of my clients, and this has been going on for years, is that a lot of you guys, here's your problem. Different clients have different challenges, but here's one challenge a lot of you guys, some guys have. Some of you guys, you want to score quick, easy pussy from women. Basically, You want to be a prolific womanizer. You aspire to be a prolific womanizer, but at the same time, you want to protect. You want to protect your image and reputation. You want to protect your image and reputation. Let me break something down to you. Let me wake some of you guys up who fall into this category. That is virtually impossible. That is virtually impossible. See, as a matter of fact, I don't want to go on a long segue, but that's one of the things that's contributing to the whole Me Too movement thing. That's one of the reasons why you got women doing this whole Me Too movement. I wrote an article on the Negro Manosphere. I'll probably put it in the comments section when the situation with the comedian Aziz Ansari first came out. I wrote an article talking about the sexual duplicity of men. Because normally when you hear me talk about sexual duplicity, I'm discussing women's sexual duplicity. But the truth of the matter is, there are a lot of men in society who are sexually duplicitous. What do I mean when I say sexually duplicitous? For a man, if you're publicly trying to present yourself as this classy, wholesome, caring, considerate, monogamy-oriented gentleman, this classy, wholesome, caring, considerate, romantic, monogamy-oriented gentleman, but behind closed doors, you're trying to get as much pussy as you can in the shortest time possible, that means as a man, you're sexually duplicitous. It's just like a woman who tries to publicly present herself as an innocent, wholesome, relationship-oriented, monogamy-oriented good girl, but behind closed doors, she's very kinky and promiscuous and engaging in casual sex on a regular, semi-regular basis. That's a woman being sexually duplicitous. Yeah, men and women can both be sexually duplicitous. And that's what a lot of you men are trying to do. There's a lot of men, you want the public reputation as a guy who's boyfriend material and husband material. That's what you want. You want to maintain the image and reputation of a man who's boyfriend material and husband material, but you want the sex life of a porn star or a prolific womanizer. Those two don't work together, man. Those two don't work together. They just don't. I'm telling you. Now, I talk about this in at least one, if not two, of my books. You can't have both. That's an example of trying to have your cake and eat it too. You can have both maybe in the short run for a few days, maybe a few weeks. But in the long run, you're never going to be able to have both because you're going to be exposed. Just like sexually duplicitous women. At some point, they get exposed. If you're a sexually duplicitous man, like a celebrity example would be Aziz Ansari. He's a classic example of what I'm talking about. He got exposed. And now it's compromised his reputation and his career because he got exposed for being sexually duplicitous. But yeah, that's what a percentage of my clients, that's what you guys, based on some of the questions you ask me and the comments you make to me, you guys want the sex life of a womanizer, but you want the image and reputation as the nice guy, the polite gentleman, the boyfriend material guy, the husband material guy. No, you can't have both. You can't have both. I'm here to tell you, you can't have both. The closest thing to a compromise, I would say, here's the closest thing to coming close to having both. And you've heard me use this term in my book, The Beta Male Revolution, and I think I've talked about it on one or two of my video podcasts. There's a term for guys who are kind of halfway between being a long-term boyfriend type guy and a prolific womanizer. And that term is known as a serial monogamist. A serial monogamist. A serial monogamist. A serial monogamist is a guy who never maintains two or more lovers at the same time. He never maintains two or more lovers at the same time. What he does is he will have just one monogamous sexual lover for an average of 6 to 12 months. And then he breaks up with that woman, and then he'll have another lover for an average of 6 to 12 months. Then he breaks up with that woman, and he has another lover for an average of 6 to 12 months. I would say at bare minimum, it might be 3 months the relationship might last, and at maximum, it might be a year and a half. Average is usually about 6 to 12 months, though. That's what's known as a serial monogamist. Serial monogamist is when you're a guy who you never engage in promiscuous behavior. Like you don't really engage in one-night stands or weekend flings or other variations of truly casual sex. What you do is you find one woman to have sex with for an average of 6 to 12 months. Again, bare minimum, I'd say 3 months or longer. And no more than usually 15 to 18 months. And then, you break up with her, or she might break up with you, and then you move on to another woman. I'd tell you the best celebrity example of that would probably be the former New York Yankee superstar Derek Jeter. If you ever kept up with Derek Jeter and his love life and sex life, Derek Jeter never had a reputation for being a womanizer. Because you rarely heard about Derek Jeter, like, say, fucking 3 different women in a month or 3 different women in a week. You've never heard about Derek Jeter doing that, like some other athletes you might have heard about. You never heard about Derek Jeter having wild orgies or having just multiple women at his crib on a Friday or Saturday night. You never heard it. Not saying that never ever happened. It could have happened, but if it did happen, it wasn't in the news. But Derek Jeter, whenever people would report on Derek Jeter's love life and sex life, he usually had one girlfriend, and he would date her for anywhere from roughly 6 months to maybe 15 to 18 months, and then they would end up breaking up. Then he would have a new girlfriend for about 6 months to about 15 to 18 months. Then they would end up breaking up. Then now actually Derek's married. He's married now. But when he was single, he was a male celebrity off the top of my head who had a reputation for being a serial monogamist. He was not known for being just a prolific or incorrigible womanizer. But at the same time, he wasn't in really any real long-term relationships with women, like relationships that lasted like 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. He had a lot of real short-term monogamous relationships. That's a serial monogamist. When you aspire to be a serial monogamist, that's when you're able to have sex with multiple women, but at the same time, you can generally maintain a positive reputation. People will still consider you a decent guy. Like, women won't really pass judgment on you or try to disparage you when you're a serial monogamist. See, but once you get a reputation for being a womanizer who fucks and dumps women after having sex with them 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, see, that's going to hurt you when it comes to wanting to have a relationship. It won't necessarily hurt your opportunities for more casual sex. But if you start wanting to have a long-term relationship with a woman, if you have a reputation for being a guy who's a prolific and incorrigible womanizer who fucks and dumps women, most women, they're going to shy away from you. As far as, like, I've had that happen to me in my life. I've had some women who have treated me like, Alan, basically in so many words, they'd be like, Alan, you're good for being a fuck buddy, but I would never want you to be my boyfriend. And that's because I've had quite a few one-night stands, weekend flings, and other variations of short-term, non-monogamous casual sex. So, again, if you want to have sex, with at least a decent variety of women, but at the same time, you don't want the reputation of a womanizer, your best bet is to try to be a serial monogamist. That's the closest thing to having your cake and eat it too. But I guarantee you, even when you're a serial monogamist, even in a short-term monogamous relationship, if you get exposed for cheating on those women, it's going to fuck you up. And your reputation is going to be damaged. You're going to be exposed. And then it's going to... I'm telling you, I've seen it happen to guys, man. Guys who wanted to have both. They wanted to fuck a lot of women, but they wanted to have a reputation for being boyfriend material and being monogamy oriented. Once they got exposed, man, sometimes they had to move to a totally different city. And now with social media, even if you move to a different city, man, you're going to get called out. You're going to get exposed. So there you go. Again, Patreon exclusive live stream today at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Join me if you're a $10 subscriber or up. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Yes, sir.
Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Who's the king?
Alan, you're the king.
Say it again.
Alan, you're the king. You're dominating me.
Say it again.
Alan, you're dominating me right now. Mode 1.
Mode 1.
Daddy, can I go, please? You're the king.
Say it again.
Oh, you're the fucking king. Yes. Yes. Yes.
You're the king, Alan.
AKA the king of verbal seduction. You know, it's the tone of your voice, how seductive your intonations are, the vibrations that you could just reach out over the phone lines and stroke a woman's breast just by the sound of your voice, how you could make her pussy so wet just by the sound of your voice. That's actually very hot.
So you said my show was what?
I said your show is powerful.
Oh, say it again.
Your show is powerful.
I bet the king would fuck me really good.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie. The king.
The king.
The king.
Yes, sir.
Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Who's the king?
Alan, you're the king.
Say it again.
Alan, you're the king. You're dominating me.
Say it again.
Alan, you're dominating me right now. Mode 1.
Mode 1.
Daddy, can I go, please? You're the king.
Say it again.
Oh, you're the fucking king. Yes. Yes. Yes.
You're the king, Alan.
AKA the king of verbal seduction. You know, it's the tone of your voice, how seductive your intonations are, the vibrations that you could just reach out over the phone lines and stroke a woman's breast just by the sound of your voice, how you could make her pussy so wet just by the sound of your voice. That's actually very hot.
So you said my show was what?
I said your show is powerful.
Oh, say it again.
Your show is powerful.
I bet the king would fuck me really good.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie. The king.
The king.
The king.